So Kory's going to demonstrate, I think for the first time outside of his office. It's technically probably still in his office, but he's connected to it from here.
It is.
The parallel transfer engine, which means that you won't be able to hold it wrong later. Right now there's lots of ways to hold that wrong in iRODS land. He's going to fix that for you using all the cool stuff he told you about yesterday.
Ready?
Good.
Okay. So I don't have really much prepared. I'm just going to kind of show you some code and show you like I'm going to run it and let you see what it does, and you can see how it transmits bytes to and from the server. So basically we have, this is basically parallel transfer. I have a function that basically takes in, it's a generic function, so you can tell it, you give it a source factory. This factory generates input streams, and then you give it a sync factory, which is your output stream. And you can also attach a callback that says, if my transfer completes, then do this extra thing, right? Okay. So here, this is pretty much it. This is the parallel transfer engine. I'm not going to display the code for that because it's quite a bit of code, and it's just no point in doing it. So here's this is just showing that when you instantiate a transfer engine, you can, at some point, you can ask for, give me all the errors that occurred, and this just will return you some object that you can basically query and say, and get all the error information out of it. If the transfer is still in progress, then that object will block and basically wait until the transfer completes or just blows up. And then you can say, well, what actually happened? And so here, using pretty much a lot of the new libraries here, we're setting up a connection pool. Basically, we are going to create factories that instantiate 3 streams. So we're going to open up 3 pipes to push bytes across. And so here's our connection pool being instantiated. Here's the first simple factory that we have. This factory just produces input and output streams on the actual machine. So this is outside of iRODS. And here's our actual D-stream factory, which is the thing that knows how to talk to iRODS and read and write bytes to data objects. And here's where we actually get into doing puts and gets. So this block here from line 17184 is basically going to put a file in iRODS using 3 stream objects. And this next block from 186 to 200 is going to basically take the existing factors that we instantiate and just swap the position so that you can say, well, this factory is now a sink instead of a source, okay? All right, so some of the things you'll get to see here is like partially the new logging. Since this is all in master, you get a chance to see that as well.
So is that a put and a get in like 8 lines each?
Yes.
Okay.
So these 2 boxes here, you'll be able to see when I launch the transfer, you'll see like JSON output. And basically this is, I've only gotten to the point where we're trying to track what's being pushed. And right now that's being written to a local file so that eventually when this is completed, if something happens during transfer, you will be able to reinstantiate the parallel transfer and it'll just pick up where it left off. So this is the put. So 9.5 seconds. And here's the get, which actually this is funny so if you notice like this first object up here is actually not moving at all. And that's pretty weird. I don't understand why that's happening, but I think it actually has to do with iRODS behavior in that it always, no matter how many threads I throw at it, one thread will always wait until the other thread is complete. So It looks to be some weird thing in iRODS that we need to look at, and it could speed up iRODS with gets, on gets as well. So yeah, that's pretty much where I am right now. It's still a work in progress, so questions?
Anybody? Yep, there's one.
All right, heads up. So, where is this state file now being stored?
So right now it's just being stored, and I haven't defined a clear place for it to be stored. Right now it's just a dot file in my home directory. So it's hard coded for this because I'm actually just doing this right in the iRODS source code in the unit test section, because I didn't feel like creating a new project and compiling everything. It was just, yeah, it's just a dot file. I can show you those right here. So ignore the last one there. That was, I got some command line stuff wrong. But these two here, big file and big file.copy, that's basically, I'm still trying to come up with a scheme for how parallel transfer can figure out based on the factories that you give it, because each factory has to have the path to your data object stored within it so that all this works. That way it can, when you reinstantiate the parallel transfer, it can say, oh, okay, so this was the source file and this was the target. So just go look up, you know, this particular scheme, like use this scheme, and it should be able to find out if you ever triggered parallel transfer and pick up from there.
Would it be a solution to keep it in memory until it fails?
To keep it in memory? It is in memory, it's just at the same time outputting is writing it down so that if, let's say an agent was doing this, if the agent explodes, then the memory is gone. So how do you start then? Well, it has to be written down somewhere. So that's basically what this is.
But the agent failing or sec faulting would always be a bug, right? The transfer failing is something else, but the agent failing should be a bug.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, this is still very early, but
sure. It looks nice.
Any other questions?